So, I came in and Tucker Carlson was speaking, and I thought about rushing the stage for an impromptu debate. But I figured it'd give Harold a heart attack, so I didn't want to do that. It is great to be here with Harold, his team, and most importantly, my team. And I want to tell you that there is no better friend to have than the men and women you represent. There are the obvious reasons, which we all like to talk about. You're the one rushing to danger. You're the one who every day decides that what you do is worth the risk you take for your families. I have been so lucky to represent you and witness your commitment for more than 30 years. When you guys say you'll be there, you really mean it. If I'm going to be in a knife fight in a dark alley for the future of the values we care about, I want you guys in that alley with me. It's no surprise that your profession is the third most prestigious profession in the country. That's what the American people said in a national poll less than a year ago. My admiration for your work goes back a long way. When I was a little girl in a small rural community, my dad was a volunteer firefighter. So I grew up chasing sirens and being awoken in the middle of the night saying, "Come on, girls, you want to come? I think there might be one down the road." And I remember sitting in the back seat of the car, because we had strict instructions not to leave the car, watching my dad try to help out and watching men without the right equipment, without the right resources, battle fires that were going to get the best of them. And then, when I was a young prosecutor, I needed a pay raise badly to pay off my student loans, and there was a grant that came down from the Law Enforcement Assistance Administration, a precursor to burn grants and safer grants, and I knew I could get a little pay raise, so I begged my boss to let me become the arson prosecutor. And as I began learning about arson, I figured out that it would help if I went to the scene of the fire. And back in the late 70s, I don't need to tell you there weren't very many young women on fire scenes. But Local 42 was kind enough to embrace me and get me my boots and get me my coveralls, and I would show up when there was a suspicious fire, and I was always treated as one of them with courtesy and professionalism. I learned so much at those fire scenes, watching the professionalism, watching the risk-taking, and watching the life-saving. So when I began to run for office, there was no endorsement I wanted more. And I am proud to say that I have never faced an election without you, and I never want to. Thank you very, very much. Now we're in a time where our country is refiguring its priorities, and every penny of discretionary domestic money is on the table. And make no mistake, it is in danger. We can't shortchange the men and women who have chosen to serve and protect the public. It is our most basic government function. So we need our policy debates that we're going to have over this next year to respect and value your public service. Nobody becomes a firefighter to get rich. Nobody becomes a firefighter because they're lazy. Nobody becomes an EMT professional because they're trying to make a quick buck. There's something in your gut that drives you to risk your life to help others. In my new role as the ranking member of the Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee, I want to take this opportunity in this position to fight for your priorities. When other unions around you are losing members, you are growing. I understand the importance of research and development. You know which innovations will really make your jobs safer and better. We need to give you the ability to prioritize the spending within your profession. Is it the new Burn Saver thermal sensor that gives you real-time alerts in dangerous thermal conditions? Is it focusing on your cancer registry so we can better understand the connection between your profession and that disease? Or is it the very new efforts and the new center you have in Maryland to fight the reality of PTSD among your ranks and remove the stigma of seeking help? Are there ways that we can utilize small drones to help you avoid life-threatening situations. That's what the SAFER grants help us do. They help us reach beyond today to tomorrow for better technology and more safety for you, and therefore more comfort for your families. Now let me just tell you, I'm not going to talk very long, but let me just tell you, I'm going to speak plainly here. Harold knows I got a bad habit of this, and those of you from Missouri know it even better. Everybody loves to give you lip service that runs for office. All the politicians want to be on your side. You're popular. We want to be seen with you. Politicians want photo ops. They want to say, I'm with the first responders. But let me just explain one thing to you. There is a big difference between lip service and reality. And I'll tell you what, there are going to be some folks in the next 6 months that are going to have a chance to see where they stand. Now, when it's election time, they want to show up at your firehouse with lots of cameras. They want to talk about how close they are to the first responders. But then, when it's time to take a stand for the SAFER grants, or when it's time to really stand up for collective bargaining, they're nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. And by the way, let's explain what collective bargaining is in plain terms. Since when is it wrong in America for workers to come together and leverage their numbers for better pay, better working conditions, and better benefits? You know, this country is envied by other countries for the power of our military, for our rule of law, but you know what we're admired for? We're admired for our standard of living. And what has built that standard of living? The middle class has built that standard of living. And who has orchestrated and the main architect of that middle class? Unions in this country have done that. Is it wrong for us to want to advocate for a system that makes sure that you can buy a home, that you can send your child to college, that you can retire with dignity and certainty and still maybe have enough to get a hunting cabin or a bass boat? Why is that so much of a problem? Why are so many people in this town and in Jefferson City, Missouri, trying to undercut the very mechanism that built the middle class in this country? It's because they're not thinking about you and those photo ops at that moment. They're thinking about somebody who writes much bigger checks. So let me just tell you, I believe very much in your ability to collectively bargain for wages and benefits. I believe very much in the middle class of this country. I believe in unions in this country, and I believe in your public service. So come on, President Trump. Come on, Mitch McConnell. Come on, Paul Ryan, you're in charge. I'm from Missouri. On behalf of Missouri firefighters, show us you care about first responders, because we're all watching. Thank you guys very much.